right, starting things off here and going to see what's going on first. Before we go too far, I want to make certain that we're online and going for this Wednesday and that everything is working. Sounds like audio is where it needs to be. And as of right now, again, for the time being, we've got some fairly quiet conditions. One more audio check here for a second. All right, that sounds good. A little hollow. Kind of sounds like I'm talking into a coffee can again, but oh well, that's the best we can do with plug-in USB microphones that are not exactly top-of-the-line quality, but we'll use what we can. All right, I think that's it, so we'll go ahead and get going here for this evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onig. This is Weather Overtime, peak of the week, Wednesday, the 8th of January. So welcome to the show. We'll talk more about what we're going to be expecting, a little sneak preview here for you. As we take a look over the course of the next couple of days, things are going to be changing. Suffice it to say that if you have things to get done tomorrow, definitely want to get them done as soon as you possibly can, because on Friday morning you're out of time. So as of right now, this is where we could be looking at some major problems taking place when it comes to travel. We'll talk about winter weather travel conditions out there, so stay tuned again for more on that. If you've never been here before, this is our online video weather blog. This is where we allow you, the viewer, to type questions into the comments section, which we have up and working on YouTube and on our Twitch channel. So if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the comments section. And we'd love to be able to hear from you no matter where you are. We cover the area of around the Tennessee River Valley, around close to the Chattanooga, Tennessee area. So if you live around that location, that is where we are coming to you from the News 12 studios in downtown. We're also, again, keeping an eye on this whole storm system as it makes its way out of the Gulf of Mexico and shovels a ton of moisture up this direction. And that is where we may see, again, the potential for a lot of problems coming our way in just about another 36 hours or so. So we'll see again what goes on there. Downtown Chattanooga, things are quiet, everything moving along well. This is on the EPB fiber optics weather cam network, the Bailey's heating and air camera overlooking the TVA building, parking lot, and the Chattanooga Public Library downtown off of Broad and Market Streets. So quiet for this evening. Also quite chilly as we see temperatures dropping into the mid to upper 20s, and with those winds kind of breezy, wind chills are down into the lower 20s already, and looking at a fairly frigid start for the kids in the morning. We'll take a look at the school bus stop coming up here in just a little bit. Taking a look real quick, Mr. Tom Benson, who's with Communications Department at the Tennessee Aquarium, need to be able to know about this, but the Tennessee Aquarium's Penguin Rock camera, where you can see them kind of trying to get comfortable getting in for a long winter's nap, the temperature inside Penguin Rock is 42 degrees. That's a constant, and this is actually warmer than what it was today outside of Chattanooga. It's actually warmer here than what it is over parts of Alaska and back up into parts of Canada. So in a couple of days, we'll be looking for more potential of colder air causing some problems, and this is where, again, we're going to need to really be paying attention. So our storm system, again, right here for now, but that's going to be developing into a stronger area of low pressure, and as we go toward tomorrow, high pressure still in control for us, and then we see high pressure, again, air with high pressure rotates clockwise, air around low pressure rotates counterclockwise, so we've got two areas of circulation working together to force moisture up off the Gulf of Mexico over the top of very cold air down toward the surface. And this is the setup into the next couple of days, so that by the time we work our way into Friday morning, that's when things are going to start, and that is again where we see the potential for more snow showers developing through about lunchtime. The best possibility is snow from the Tennessee state line back to the north, and then to the south of that, a collection of possible precipitation amounts, and that goes right on in through Friday evening. And then as we go into Saturday morning, that whole storm system lifts its way off toward the Atlantic coast states, and drier air comes in, Could be some leftover snow showers early Saturday morning, but by then the bulk of anything in the way of problems from moisture will have been done, and that is where we really need to watch and see what actually happens. So tomorrow looking good. For Friday morning, as this starts to move closer to us, the moisture riding up over that cold air, this system, again, approaching from the west-southwest, will start to move a lot of problems out into around the area, back to the west first, and then heading our way as we go toward Friday early morning, and then most of everything should be already on the ground by Friday sunset. But, again, these numbers are changeable, to say the least. Different computer models on a spectrum. Some are more conservative, some are more liberal, some give you a better possibility of snow, heavier winds, better rainfall, things like that. The other spectrum end is where you see less of that, and in between those computer models, the middle ground is where we try to aim to see where things are going on. Now, this model that we've shown you over the last couple of days from the GFS computer model, this is showing again a pretty good wallop of snow showers from the Red River all the way back to just about northern parts of Alabama, southern middle Tennessee. You can see again back toward Little Rock pushing a foot of snow out there. This one again is the computer model that is showing, for all intents and purposes, the worst of the worst outcome. We'll take a look at a local view of a more conservative model, which I think we're leaning more towards here in just a little bit. This again shows the possibility of the precipitation writ very large, and for now most of that's going to come down on Friday during the day. Some of it could still be around the area by about early Saturday morning, and then by Sunday morning it's all gone. But it's this area right in here that really presents a concern. I will show you that close up in just a little bit when it comes to freezing rain. Now, when it comes to snowfall, again, we'll start to look for the potential of more areas of snow showers coming on through. Let's back this up a little bit. Pre-dawn hours on Friday, light snow moves in, and then about dawn patrol into the rest of the morning, round about noon, we could already see a couple of inches of snow on the ground, and by rush hour home, again, this model is showing a lot lower amounts of precipitation and more sporadic possibilities of it, and more scattered possibilities of heavier amounts of snow showers in the darker blue. Even heavier amounts earlier tonight around Huntsville, Scottsboro, southern middle Tennessee. There were a couple of pockets here of 8 to 12 inches of snowfall. That has gone by the wayside, so it looks like we're finally, as we get closer to the event, which is normal, this is what happens. These computer models refine what they see of a larger nature and can get more pinpoint the closer we get in time to the actual event. That's what snowfall forecasting does. That's what it's all about. And if you've never tried snowfall forecasting for yourself and marking down a number to say this is what I'm expecting in my backyard, I really highly recommend it as an exercise in ego puncturing, because there's so many things that can go wrong with a forecast. Next 24 hours, we could see this explode in amounts of snow. It could stay the same, or we could start looking at the possibility of winding up with almost absolutely nothing. You really can't get that accurate until you get to within 12 to 18 hours of a storm's arrival, and that's what we'll be seeing as we go into tomorrow night at this time. By the time we hit Friday evening, sunset, pretty much going to be all over with, and then the heaviest amount of snow showers will have been and gone, but there still will be the potential of some leftover snow showers, and parts of the Appalachians, especially Middle Tennessee, Cumberland Plateau, and sporadic areas of Georgia and into Alabama could be looking at about 3 to 5 inches plus. 8 inches, a little bit iffy on that. More comfortable with the idea of saying 3 to 6. Again, this is the model. We take our cues from that, but I don't think we're going to be seeing 10 to 12, and I don't think we're going to be seeing 1 to 2. I think, as the National Weather Service in Morristown has said, probably somewhere around 3 to 6 on average for most of the area, less in some places, more in others. That's the way snowfall accumulation works, and that is exactly what we're going to be looking for here. Now, that being said, let's take a look at a couple of other quick things involving the potential of, first of all, sleet pellets. And again, not expecting anything that's going to start showing up until about Friday morning. This, again, is where it's cold enough close to the ground to where melted snow or rain falls into that freezing air and freezes into a teeny tiny little pinhead shape, and that falls on the ground, bouncing around as sleet. Now, this appears to be the greatest target zone for northern Alabama and north portions of Georgia, especially along the I-20 corridor. This is where we could be looking at the potential of some freezing rain causing a glaze to as much as maybe a tenth of an inch in some locations. Now, again, this is just meant for the possibility of sleet. Let's take a look at what is going to be going on when it comes to anything involving freezing rain. And again, let me back that up just a little bit so we can see what is going to be coming our way. Now, early pre-dawn hours Friday, not much of anything. Then we see the potential of that frozen precipitation or freezing precipitation move on through. Now, the blue line that you see, that is the freezing line at the surface. So warmer to the south, colder to the north, and that at the surface is where we will see the potential of anything going over the top of that falling as freezing rain or sleet, depending on where exactly everything shapes up at. So for right now, this purple area is where we see the potential of rain changing over to sleet and freezing rain, and this is where things really start to get interesting, especially around rush hour. The best possibility for freezing rain will be coming up as we go into Friday afternoon and evening, especially along and south of the Tennessee line and Chattanooga. What are we looking at? Well, according to the National Weather Service, by the time we finish up and get into Saturday morning, a couple of things to note here. Number one, for parts of the viewing area, northwest Georgia, northeastern Alabama, this part of the Tennessee River Valley in Alabama and northwest Georgia, snow, rain, freezing rain, and sleet. We could be looking at a tenth of an inch of freezing rain, as well as maybe dropping that snow down just a little bit farther of 4 to 6 inches of snow. So that is where we might see, again, some of the worst traveling conditions coming up Friday night into Saturday. Now, as well as that, at the same time, and after that into Friday night, Saturday morning, I-20 from Birmingham to Atlanta is going to be looking at even higher amounts of freezing rain, at least maybe a quarter of an inch of freezing rain on the power lines, and we're talking maybe about some widespread power outages here. I-20 corridor and farther south into central Georgia, where that darker purple is located inside that blue oval. So basically the idea of what's going on Friday night and Saturday morning, travel may become difficult, if not impossible, even with the snow out there, but combine that with freezing rain and sleet pellets, that is where things get really difficult to be out and about in. So if you have things to do, getting gas, getting food, getting errands run, anything like that, if you can get that done, probably going to be a busy day on the roadways on Thursday because of this starting to happen as we go from Friday and into Saturday. If you have any plans, of traveling or know somebody who's heading up this direction, especially through the Atlanta metro area, in the last couple of snowstorms that have been some pretty good doozies of some storms, we have all seen that Atlanta does not handle heavy winter weather well. So this entire area of Georgia, less so in the northern tier of counties, more so down toward Atlanta and central Georgia, this is where we could be looking at the potential problem for a lot of roads being shut down, very slow travel, almost impossible travel in some of these locations. Now, could all of this go away in the next model run? Yes, that's possible. It doesn't look that way because this of what we're seeing here has been very persistent, and it continues again to show the possibility of heavier amounts of freezing rain south and east of the viewing area, but for possibility of some of that to intrude on northern parts of Alabama and northern parts of Georgia, portions of that in the News 12 viewing area. So this could make things exceptionally dangerous and a good reason to not be out on the roadway if at all possible. So something, again, to consider there. Okay, we've talked about snow, we've talked about freezing rain, we've talked about sleet. Let me give you an overall idea as to what's going on with the advisory situation. The gray color here, grayish blue, that's a winter storm watch for all of the News 12 viewing area. And this, again, is the heads up from the National Weather Service saying that winter conditions are possible within 36 to 48 hours, somewhere in there. Now, we take that and we zoom out to see the southeastern United States. We see some more colors coming into play here. Again, this winter storm watch, winter weather on the way, but not imminent. Pink in the Red River, Arklatex, Mid-South area, that's a winter storm warning, which means winter weather is shortly going to begin. It's going to be imminent, or it is, again, going to be within the next several hours. A possibility of many different types of precipitation. Winter weather advisories are issued where you have snow, freezing rain, sleet, rain, fog, mixtures of all of that together. So this is a big heads up for this area of the country to where you could be looking at a amazing variety of different types of winter weather and poor conditions. And that also, if you take a look, goes way up into the I-70 corridor, right where they got hit about a week or so ago. So for right now, we are on standby for this system. It's a good bet that somewhere within about the next, I'd say 24 hours, probably at least by noon tomorrow, we're going to be seeing this winter storm watch turn into a winter storm warning, which means, again, that is getting closer to us, and now's the time to rush preparations to completion to make certain that we are done and ready to go for that potential out there. So taking a look, and let me switch cameras here for just a second on the EPB Fiber Optics WeatherCam network. What we're going to be seeing at this time is, again, it's clear tonight. It's beautiful, but it is very chilly out there. Here's the way the situation is going to shape up, because into around the area of early Friday morning, starting off Thursday, again, dry and sunny. It's going to be chilly, but dry and chilly is going to help when it comes to getting errands taken care of. I've got to stop by and top off my gas tank. We'll talk more about winter road preps in just a little bit. Breezy tonight, Old Glory at Island Cove. Winds blowing out of the north, northeast, northwest at about 10 miles per hour. Again, tomorrow night, that's where we see the clouds move in. For Friday morning, again, the winter storm watch becomes a winter storm warning, and we see that mixture of precipitation taking place. Snow in the morning, snow, rain, freezing rain in the midday afternoon hours, and then more snow possible, freezing rain Friday night, turning over to more snow dwindling to flurries as we get into Saturday. Then we see temperatures maybe briefly going above freezing for a little bit. The thing about snowfall is that when there's enough snow on the ground, that depth of snow can make the snow its own air conditioning system. The thicker the snow, over 4 inches, the better possibility with temperatures close to freezing, that snow and ice and everything else, unless we get some very warm weather, which this is not it, especially at nighttime, where everything that melts during the day freezes again at night. Now watch this also, to where we get all this stuff going on here. If we go above freezing for even just a little bit on Saturday, the numbers on early Sunday morning as the clouds part, there's no clouds out there tonight, so if there's nothing to hold the heat of the day down toward the surface, the heat just radiates away. Whatever we got in the way of heat during the day, during that diurnal up and down, high, low phase, that heat evaporates, just goes away, radiates outwards, and temperatures plummet, which is what we're going to be seeing tonight. So if that clears out Saturday night into Sunday, temperatures drop into the teens, and then we see everything that possibly melted on Saturday flash freezing on the roadways on Sunday morning, which means I would say that's a good possibility of seeing some black ice, which means that if you have church or Sunday school or something like that going on early Sunday morning, it's a very good bet there's going to be some big slick spots out there, and that could lead to a lot of accidents and probably a lot of folks staying home from church and Sunday school, considering the travel conditions out there. Next several days after that, we warm up a little bit, but then we see again temperatures at nighttime. We dip back down below freezing, head back up again during the day, back down again at night, and that is where we get those chances of rain and snow and sleet, melting, freezing all over again. So this is going to be the only weather maker for the foreseeable future. There's nothing else out there. There is a possibility of one by the time we hit let's see, the 17th through about mid-month or so. On that side of the forecast, there may be another winter scenario shaping up, maybe just rain, could even be severe weather, so that's something we need to watch out for at this time of the year. Our 7-day forecast, if you haven't looked yet, it's on the bottom section of the screen at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to take a look at it. I'm working on 2 different cameras here, so on YouTube, there it is, on Twitch, there it is. So if you're looking at that, again, keep an eye on what's going on with the weather through our website. Now, for tomorrow morning, and let's again show you what's happening where it comes to the wind chills. The winds are not going to be quite as bad as this morning, but early on in some parts of the area, we could be looking at wind chills into the single digits again. East of Chattanooga, northwest of Chattanooga, higher elevations could see colder temperatures, which means that if you're going to be heading out with the kids to the bus stop, we should be looking at the potential for some cold numbers with, again, light winds, but it doesn't take much to drop those numbers down a bunch. So definitely want to make certain you are bundled up, and so are the kids. Something else, again, for the school administrators, superintendents, and things like that, you can enter information about closings at our website, wdef.com/weather, and the closings and delays will be updated quite a lot in the next few days. As I understand it, there are not that many schools on the list just yet because a lot of schools are waiting until the last possible minute to get the information out. Just a food for thought for any of those schools out there and thinking, well, let's get the kids to school on Friday and then we'll make our decision once the kids are there. That could wind up being a fairly fateful decision on your part. We're not trying to tell you how to run your business. Standard legal disclaimer there. That's your business. Ours is to tell you the weather. But to get the kids to school on Friday morning, just to get a couple of hours in and then to call the parents and the buses back to get everybody back home once again, especially as the conditions continue to deteriorate, that could wind up being a rather costly bit of problem. So again, that is something really to consider. Tomorrow it's just going to be chilly and dry, but we will see, again, the dry conditions come to an end around the time that the first bell rings in on Friday. I'm guessing in the next 24 hours, a lot more schools will be added to our list. So if you want to know what's going on, way back when I was in school, as my daughter says, when dinosaurs roamed the earth, we had to stay up and listen to the radio or watch the TV for any sign that our school was closed. And in Topeka, Kansas, if there was 4 inches of snow on the ground, you were going to school. 6 inches, that was kind of iffy. So we'll see what we wind up with there. Thursday does not look to be a problem. So again, hopefully some good conditions out there for that. But in the meantime, definitely going to prepare for a very chilly start to the day. If you're heading out the door to walk the dog, same conditions apply there, as it will be in the lower 20s to the high teens tomorrow morning. Thanks, and this is a first. I don't think we've ever had this before. Thank you very much to Pupper Nala for a selfie, and a pupper who is on Instagram at Nala's Golden_life if you'd like to be friends with her on there and see what's going on in dog circles around St. Elmo, just to the southwest of the News 12 studios along Broad Street. That's our dog walking forecast. pupper picture of the day. So a good opportunity again there to see what's going on with theirs. If you got dog pictures, we'd love to see them at wdef.com/dogwalk. Chilly for Thursday on the outdoors. Again, temperatures back in the high 30s, maybe the lower 40s if we get long enough amounts of sunshine across the area. And same thing goes for a round of golf. Tomorrow will be your last best opportunity to get a round of golf in. It's going to be dry, it'll be a trifle breezy, and it'll be sunny, but after Friday morning, all bets are off, and unless you're playing winter rules, probably not going to get a good golf game in there anytime soon. Weather window of the day, thanks to Susan Waybrandt from Delano for a view of a juvenile red-tailed hawk giving us the stink eye from the trees. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. And if you've got pictures to share, flora, fauna, or otherwise, as long as it's weather-related, we'll take it. Send it in to us at pictures@wdef.com. Go to our social media pages, drop it into the comments section with a location and a description, please. Or you can go to Weather Window headquarters at wdef.com/photos to find out more about what may be going on there. I think that just about covers it for tonight. So with that being said, let's take a bit of a foray into the next few minutes. We've got about a few minutes left before we go over the half an hour mark. I grew up in Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, where I learned to drive on pretty nasty, slick conditions. And there's a lot of rules out there when it comes to driving in winter weather. If you've never done it before or only done it a couple of times, before the winter weather arrives, if you have to travel, even if you don't have to travel, if gas stations run low on fuel because of the storm, because they can't get their fuel shipments in, whatever, tomorrow, Thursday the 9th, get your tank filled. Go ahead and get it all taken care of. Check your air pressure in your tires. Colder tires shrink, so you want to make certain you're filled up properly. Be weather aware. Make certain you're paying attention to the forecast, and note that the forecast with winter weather changes often, all the way from the beginning of a possible storm right up to its arrival. So the time to be informed as to what's going on is right now and all the way through between the time that everything begins to basically snow falling and everything else coming on down. Be flexible in your travel plans. If you don't have to go, or you know someone who's coming toward you through all that mess, maybe you can postpone that. Maybe you should postpone that. Cancel, postpone, reschedule, rearrange, whatever you want to call it. Barreling through and just saying, oh, it won't be that bad, that's really not the best solution. So again, definitely something to think about there. Now, if you have to travel during the storm, first of all, if you don't have to travel, do not do it. Stay home. It is not worth it to get out there. You may get 5 minutes down the road, get stuck in a ditch, and then you're there for the next 12 hours. It'd be too dangerous to walk home because of the weather and because of the temperatures and everything else. So again, if you don't have to travel, don't get out in it. If you do have to travel, stock your vehicle with warm clothes, blankets, non-perishable food, breakfast bars, Pop-Tarts, anything that comes in a wrapper that is non-perishable is a very good idea. Have that in the traveling section, I want to say cockpit, the fuselage, the driver's section, interior area of the car. If it's stuck in the trunk and you can't get to the trunk, there's no point having them in the first place. Have water to drink. Don't eat snow to stay hydrated, because that will cool you off from the inside out, and you want to stay warm. So you can drink melted snow water, but don't eat snow or ice, because that will cool your core temperature off. And in this type of weather, you want to stay warm. Traveling someplace, if you absolutely have to go someplace, let's say it takes you 20 minutes to go from home to work, and again, a round trip of 40 minutes, allow for 3 times the travel time on that. So if it's 20 minutes of a usual trip from home to work, allow for an hour when you have nasty weather outside. That is where we see, again, the potential of some problems out there. If you get in too much of a rush, you go off the edge, and again, you get too much speed, your car and inertia does a very good job of saying, to heck with the laws of physics, I'm not going in a straight line, I'm going in the line that mass in motion is going to follow. So don't be in a rush, go slow, take your time. Do not rush if you have to be out there. check the roads before you go on a travel app, the Maps app, or take a look at local DOT sites. If there's precipitation coming down, rain, sleet, snow, whatever, especially this is something that a lot of people forget during the regular times of the year, headlights on. That is a state law. Yes, the state law from whatever state you happen to be in, headlights need to be on as precipitation is falling. Now, if you've never driven in this before, again, first of all, if you've never driven in it and don't know exactly what to expect, best not to get out. Also, learn about driving in winter weather. You can watch YouTube videos, safety videos out there that can tell you that if you get into your vehicle starting to spin, you turn your wheel in the direction of the spin, get off the gas, and then let yourself self-correct. That is going to be, again, something that's going to require a lot of patience and a lot of practice. And there's one here that I didn't put on the list, but I want to, and that is, again, if you can, plan a route that is the absolute flattest of where you're going to be traveling. What does that have to do with anything? Well, if you're traveling on a pretty flat route, shouldn't have a problem. There's going to be some ups and downs like that. For me, I go from the station to up around Signal Mountain on the east slope, so there's some ups and downs there. But if I go across the bridge from downtown to the North Shore, go through the Stringer's Ridge Tunnel, and then back up to where I live, that's actually the flattest route. But if you go on some of these places that have the up and down hills, you can get out of control, sliding down the hill, no traction whatsoever, and you wind up in a ditch or a wreck, and then you're stuck there for hours on end. If you can avoid going on that up and down route, then you're going to be much better off. Now, does that mean that it's going to take a while to get there? Yes. Well, again, go back to rule number 3 to where you see, again, the potential of where you could be looking at a lot of problems if you get into a little bit of a rush. Now, the interesting thing is that if you go to things like Google Maps, this does kind of help in some ways to where our TV station is located down here on Broad Street at 33rd Street, right down here close to the across the street from the International Towing and Recovery Museum. I wonder if they're going to be decently busy in the next few days. But this route here going up Broad Street is pretty well on the flat side. Going around this area, I believe Moccasin Highway, if I'm not mistaken, or Old Wauhatchie Pike, this thing goes up and down around the side of Lookout Mountain on the north face. Now then you've got the area here around the North Shore where you've got right off the river and going north as you go up on Barton Avenue, you've got a lot of hills and twists and close call neighborhoods and stoplights at the bottom of hills where people are going to be coming downhill, realize they don't have traction, and they're going to go whoosh right on through that intersection, even if it's a red light. Also, Stringer's Ridge, again, right through here. This would be part of the route that I would be going from North Shore to downtown because you go through the tunnel and wind up on Dayton Boulevard, and it's not too bad from there. On the other hand, if you get all the way up here to about Morrison Springs Road, this from the highway down to Mountain Creek Road is one giant slope. And to say nothing about all these lanes up here on the east slope of Signal Mountain, that is where you can really run into a lot of problems. So this is going to be something to really practice and take a look at when it comes to your safety on here. All right, so that's, again, if you have to do. Again, if you don't have to, please don't. Let's say you get stranded. You're out and about someplace, the weather's terrible, the wind's blowing, the snow is falling, the ice and freezing rain are piling up. If you can get to someplace within decent walking distance, say of maybe a couple of blocks, that's going to be your best bet to get to a building that has heat, and maybe somebody can come and pick you up there, or you can spend time there, maybe even spend the night. But again, if you don't have to travel, don't. If you're stranded, emergency flashers and headlights on, a bright cloth up on top of your antenna. And I just lost my graphics. Okay, that's really not good there. Okay, sorry about that. Looks like I may be ending this as earlier as more so than I expected, unfortunately. Hang on 1 second here. This is part of the gremlins that we've been working on over the course of the last several days, to where things just sort of happen, unfortunately, with what goes on. Let's see. Okay. Well, this is definitely a first on here. I do apologize. The gremlins seem to be getting back into the system, so I might be wrapping up my forecast a little bit early for right now. For tonight, again, if you have any plans for outdoors, doesn't look like a plan for travel. Okay, that's better. Maybe we'll get someplace. No, I don't want that. I want the actual... Okay, how is that possible? Okay, well, this is decently embarrassing. Let's see. Maybe that's it. Hopefully this will do it. Oh, great. Okay, well, guess we're done. If the News 12 engineering staff is watching, I'd like to register a complaint and show a little bit more about why we could probably use another monitor here with a direct connection, if at all possible. So if you might do a good job of checking this out and seeing why we are having problems. So I guess that's it. So sorry about that. That's the only monitor that we have available to do this on, where my little bit of information is stored. So that's with our blank screen. We're going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. Keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll keep you updated as to what is going on with the forecast into Friday. With a lack of graphics to show, and my sincerest apologies for everything, I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek. Stay tuned for more with News 12. I promise we'll have graphics on News 12 at 11, and Chip Chapman will have more on your forecast coming up on Thursday morning and on Friday morning. Definitely something you don't want to miss. Stay tuned to News 12 on air and online, and we'll have more information for you coming up throughout the next several days as this next winter storm begins to move on through.